Hey guys, so today for my newspaper article series where I go back in time and talk about witchcraft, I'm going to be looking at an article from the Hamilton Spectator from May 10th, 1972. So in Hamilton, Ontario in the 70s, there was a big witch and occult presence, and they were doing a lecture at one of the local schools. They put an ad in the paper looking for occult practitioners and witch practitioners to come give a lecture to students. And this was actually really popular. More than 50% of the students at the school attended. It even beat out a lecture that was given by a very well known Canadian columnist, Richard Needham. So this was like a big deal. Like more than half of the student population was attending. People were super interested. So one of the people that spoke there, he was an 18-year-old. And might I say he's very ambitious because at 18, I was definitely not running a business and operating a whole coven, but he was operating a coven that had 18 people in it. He referred to himself as a witch or a high priest. And they talked, there was a bunch of people that came in and talked. Like I said, they put an ad in the paper, people responded and came in. Um, there was, the dropout which is kind of similar to the newspaper article I read last week. Basically, a girl was into witchcraft and, shit hit the fan, so she turned to God and told everyone that she would describe witchcraft as living life to the fullest and enjoying oneself, even if it meant shooting up drugs or whatever makes you feel good. So I'm sure you know what happened there. But yeah, there was, this one guy, he said that one of the biggest problems in his craft at the moment, he was having a dilemma finding pure water. So he would have his friends when they would go fishing fill up jugs for him if they found like a pure stream or whatever. But he had actually heard about a pure stream uh, by a cave on the Dundas Escarpment, so he was pretty excited about that. And he also stated that he gave up looking for virgins years ago. So I don't know how to interpret that one there. They also talked about, how modern day morals and pollution, how that can affect witchcraft. There was this one steel worker. I guess people were like super excited that he was speaking at this lecture. He said more than 40 people called him and were like asking him about it. So he was practicing the occult for 8 years. Um, and he actually said the only reason he wanted to do this in the first place is because he thought it was a kind of event that could draw a lot of weirdos who would confuse the kids. He also just kind of thought people were looking for an alternative to religion and it was an easy escape from reality. He also talked about how the occult interest was growing in that area, especially in the 16 to 23-year-old range. He said himself, he's not a witchcraft practitioner, but he is a psychic with a force field around him. And then the article kind of closes out with talking about the Dundas witch practitioner. And they start talking about the only curse they have ever done, which was putting someone in an insane asylum through a spell because the person had done bad things to him. He said it took him a month, but he delivered it. He had been dedicated to the force of witchcraft since he was 3, which was also when his grandfather, who was also an occult practitioner, placed him on an altar for the ceremony. At the time of this newspaper, when this newspaper came out, he had 15 people in it, which consisted of his wife and a chief primary bard and philosopher. And they did rituals every month on the 3rd, 7th, 9th, 13th, and 21st. They had 4 other covens, and they were in England. So, yeah, a lot going on there. I guess Hamilton was a hot hub for occult and witchcraft in the 70s. Let me know what you guys think about this one, and I will return next week with another newspaper article.